So, let me tell you something that you should have already realized by now about this fucking show you're listening to. This shit is supposed to be for mature audiences, as in grown-ups, mentally mature. It's supposed to talk about adult subjects, an adult frame of mind. It's not fucking that at all. This is two emotionally regressed, broken half-wits pretending to offer insight on movies. All they really offer you is an endless sexual perversion and a laundry list of personal paraphilia issues. You can make your own choices in life, but you have to choose this as entertainment. You know you're better than this. You have to know you are better than listening to Cinema Psyops.
Decapitation, torture. Does that sound entertaining? More blood than a blood bank. You may be sickened, but what about your kids? They seem to love every moment. If you find this disturbing, just wait, because there is a whole other dimension.
Do you know what your children are watching? Well, parents and psychologists are very concerned. Fair warning, though, there is some graphic violence in this, but we say that for you, not your kids. They've probably already seen it.
You have to know you are better than listening to Cinema Psyops.
I like gore. I love blood and guts and stuff, you know. It turns me on, you know, ever since I was a little kid. I love the feeling of being scared, you know.
Kids call them slasher or splatter movies, and they get together to watch them at gross-out parties. The movies are extremely violent, sexually provocative, and have graphic displays of mutilation.
I see them with my friends, and we see who can keep their eyes open the longest.
Slumber Party Massacre. That was a classic. This guy just goes around killing people. That's the plot of all scary movies.
You have to know you are better than listening to Cinema Psyops.
Kids get the movies from the horror section. Most of the violent movies are rated R and aren't supposed to be seen unless you're 17 years old. Others are made directly on videotape and bypass the rating system altogether.
Welcome to the 356th consecutive week of Cinema Psyops. I'm your host, Court, the guy that is super stoked to be able to tell you that we are done with the Sadako-only films as of this recording, and super stoked about that exact same piece of information all the way across the city of Omaha is my co-host, Matt!
If I had to see one more fucking ring, I was just gonna fucking blow out my own O-ring.
Oh, whatever you do not open your email from me that I just sent. Wait until you're ready to see another ring.
Oh, no. Is it your O-ring? And did you blow your O-ring out? I told you, stop straining. Just let it happen when you're on the pot.
No, I just thought you'd like to see a picture of my butthole.
Oh. Oh, all right. Well,
clip.
that's
Total
fine
fucking,
then.
Total fucking clip.
That's a clip. That's a different clip.
All right. So,
by the way, that's all you had to say.
Yeah.
But yours is weird. It's more of a rectangle. I don't know what you got going on back there, but
it was an accident with one of those Play-Doh sets. I'd rather not get into it.
What'd you try to fit the square peg in the round peg? Yeah, I got you.
No, it was
We
one
all-
of those. It was
we've
one of
all
those.
been there.
It was one of those extruder things, and I got it stuck because I wanted to make different shapes. I got bored with the same old round.
You know what? I don't blame you. And if they made those for adults now, we'd probably use them.
Everybody just turned off the podcast because of the scatological humor that we've been dishing out right there. Everybody is like, "Fuck this." You know what? That guy at the beginning is right. I am too good for this shit.
Yeah. And then after they turn off for 3 minutes, they go, wonder if they're still talking about poop. And they go right back to listening.
For those of you that stuck with us the entire time right after that, and for those of you that have stuck with us for the last fucking 7 years, thank you. You mean the world to us. You really do.
You're the real cool kids. There you go.
Okay, so this week, Sadako 2019. This is interesting. We talked about it last week. This is the Ring 0, Ring 1, Ring 2 storyline. And this is a direct sequel in the films to Ring 2. And there's a direct tie-in that the film makes very obvious and tells you where it ties in.
Okay. Wait, say that again?
Sure. Ring 2. This is the direct sequel to Ring 2.
I got you. Okay.
Because there is a direct tie-in to Ring 2. There are characters from Ring 2 that show up in here beyond just Sadako.
Really?
Yeah.
The crazy lady's one, right?
The obsessive crazy lady is one of them. Yes, that's one of the main stories. But also locations of where Sadako came from and things that are
locations.
There's also locations that tie the story together. And then also there's some other folks from Sadako's life on the island and some, actually this is sort of like a trilogy rule of story in that we learn things about the past that we didn't even know that had happened. And it completely rewrites a lot of what's going on and what we know about Sadako as well in the way that the storyline works.
You're going to have to do a lot of that explaining.
Sure.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you hardcore why.
Yeah.
Today's notes are going to be a fucking mess.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I couldn't understand jack shit. So if you understood it, you're a better man than I.
All right. So you just need to give us the actions of what is happening between this, like when the scenes are going on, like when people are around the rooms and the stuff that you were able to see. I have become an expert in reading direct translated language because of the factory job that I had where there were products that were made in China that they would print up manuals that were just direct translations to English. And then we would have to either punch them up or just live with what we got. And anyone who's ordered a product from Amazon that has that same type of instructions where someone just imports it and resells it to you with those same instructions, you know what I'm talking about, where it's a direct translation and it doesn't quite line up with the way that we do prepositional phrases. In this case, these fan subs that we've had to deal with, because I don't think you can see Sadako 2019 here in the States. This is another one of those movies where it's going to be get yourself a Hulu subscription in Japan and a VPN, pretty much.
All right.
But what we're dealing with here is direct fan subs that I had to go out and find after I went out and found the video file for us to be able to watch.
I gotcha.
It matches up and the story is there, but these subtitles are fan subs that are literally direct, and I mean directly translated. And unfortunately, they misgender characters all the fucking time. I was paying attention and just neutraling the gender verbs and trying to pay attention to the person they were talking about because it was all over the place. 1 minute it's big sister, then it's little sister, then it's or little brother, then it's big brother, and then it's little brother.
Even when they're telling stories like this, the sexist thing I could get over because I knew that was coming. Just any story they told got lost to me. I'm just like, no, I got nothing left for this.
Right. So I made sure, again, Matt, that I paid very close attention to the dialogue, right? And all of the story elements that that they're going back and telling from the past is stuff that we have all seen before. And you can tell by what you're seeing that this is stuff that you've seen before from the past, but they just expanded on certain things here and there. So again, I will try my best to be able to explain the dialogue whenever I can, but we're working with that kind of thing. And you know what? It's a perfect way to end this because this level of like just weird frustration at a film where we still kind of enjoyed it. I'm getting the sense that you still thought it was a well-made film. You just couldn't understand it. And it's because our fucking subtitles just didn't work for us. And it's the best we could do.
It wasn't poorly made. I will say that. And because it's 2019, it's fairly modern looking, so it wasn't poorly made.
Well,
but
it's also the same director that did Ring 2.
But when you can't really understand a story other than the gist of it, I don't know, man.
I get it. But like I said, I'll be able to help. And you can say what happens and what events that you're seeing. And if it becomes quick, it becomes quick. But the director of the film, this film that we're talking about tonight, Sadako 2019, is the director of Ring and Ring 2. So he's coming back and sort of completing a trilogy
with this. That's what I wanted to mention, right? Because this is now Ring 3. He didn't do Ring 0, but that doesn't matter because that's a prequel.
Yeah.
What makes this, in my mind, a trilogy is, again, when we come to this Sadako, they change some of what we know of in the past, and they actually reveal that Sadako was even more of a sinister and evil character than what we thought, and that there's even more reasons why she's bound to the supernatural. And there's some things that I saw in Ring 2 where I said, hey, you remember how this is much darker, where that's a cave where they drown their children that are unwanted?
Yeah.
They flat out fucking tell you in Sadako 2019, yes, in fact, this is a cave where people drown the children they did not want.
I do have child death cave in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's stuff like that that's in there. And if you don't see that or anything like that, we'll just pause. I'll describe to you what it is that I was able to glom from the dialogue that I could make out from the subtitles. And I'll try and point you to the direction of this is tied directly into Ring 2 here and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, to confuse everybody even more, this is supposed to be an adaptation of the novel Tide, which is, as far as I understand, the last Ring novel, right?
Yeah.
Ryoji's nowhere in sight in this movie, so the story of it being based on Ryoji and tying directly into Loop and all of that kind of stuff, there's not really anything in this film that I can see. The only thing that I can kind of glom as to why people would say that this has something to do with Tide is because the ocean tide coming in and going out of this drowning cave is a big proponent of this story, and there's a lot of symbolism behind that, I think, and the way that the director is portraying the ocean is almost a foreboding character. There's talk of, in the description of the novel, that one of the main characters becomes aware of the waves and tides of the motions of humans or something along those lines. So if there's some kind of a way that they're tying in to Tide there, I guess that would kind of be it. But there is literally nothing that I've read in the description of the novel that feels like it's in this film. So it's kind of like how Ring 2 was a super loose adaptation of Razin or Spiral. Mm-hmm. This is a super loose interpretation of Tide, if it is any way, shape, or form a interpretation of Tide. And I've seen people say that it is an adaptation, but I don't see where it's adapted, so it must be really loosely adapted.
Well, yeah, I've not read any of these books, so I wouldn't know.
Right, and I have not read the books. What I'm telling you is just in the description to try and get an idea of what might be similar. So
I gotcha.
I'm just saying I've seen the comparisons out there. I've seen people that have mentioned that. I'm wanting to tell our audience that I'm aware that that's a thing that people have said. But in the story that we are about to tell you, I do not see the description of what I read about the novel Tide. You get what I'm saying? Other than I'm gonna be
100% honest. I don't get what you're saying.
Okay,
we're so convoluted at this point. At the very end, I'm just happy it's fucking over.
Yeah, this series is definitely like a real thinking humans series. Like you really kind of have to put it together.
You don't have to be real thinking. It's just way too many stories, all based around the same story. So almost you have nothingness in the end.
Yeah,
it's not a thinking man's story. That's just God. I just want to change shit all the way over because I have my own vision for how this should go.
Again, you watch them in order of release, and as a person who is just watching them in order of release, you become increasingly more befuddled and confused as to how this storyline is continuing and in what ways.
Well, I'm not befuddled how the storyline's continuing, only because I never, even though I'm viewing them in order, I'm never viewing them as any one of these movies is actually in conjunction with a movie that came before it that I just watched. I just assume it's happening in the same universe, and they're just changing the Sadako story constantly.
See, I think now that we're going through this series, and I think it's a good point to kind of discuss because you bring up excellent points there, my friend. If you were a person who was to watch this series in order from back to front, like let's say you even went so far as to see the 1995 TV version, got super stoked about that, and when you realized they were making a big budget movie production of it, you wanted to go see that, and you watched even say Spiral and all the other films, you watch them in order release as we've done for this show. The only way that you're really ever going to be able to super enjoy them is to not try and pay attention to how these storyline continuities are supposed to work and what sequel ties to what, and just think of it like you described, Matt. And if I'm going to paraphrase your words, I hope it's okay. Variations on the theme about the creation and or curse of Sadako.
Yeah, there you go.
That's basically what you have to view them as if you view them in the order of release, because it's a confusing, jumbled mess. But I promise you, if you watch them in the order that I laid out in that chart, and you go all the way down, like when you like we did and described for 1995 TV, Spiral, Sadako 3D, and Sadako 3D 2. Like we said, if you do that storyline makes sense and sort of flows together somewhat because it does have some continuation. Same thing with these films: Ring 0, Ring 1, Ring 2, Sadako 2019. They do work together.
Yeah. all right. I'm like, I'll agree with you. I just, I think it's because I'm fatigued on Sadako.
Well, this is not
what you're saying is some great stuff.
Uh-huh.
I just, and you're right, we can watch it in this particular order, in the order you have mapped out. Unfortunately, we didn't. Right. So no. I'm fucking done.
Right. The reason that you're so fucking done, Matt, is probably the reason why Sadako 2019 didn't do as well as they were hoping it would.
Yeah, it didn't do as well?
Yeah, because people were fucking Sadako fatigued at this point, and they just didn't know what to do with that information anymore.
Huh, well, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, well, I know that you're befuddled and you're confused and a little bit angry, and you're kind of tired of me talking about this series, and you just want to be over with it, so why don't we stop the patter here?
I can't wait till the very end of the Grudge series when I'll feel the same way about the Grudge.
Let's hope it takes until the very end of the Grudge series for that.
Yeah, right? It's going to be a long fucking summer.
Yeah. Well, while Matt has a mini little long dark night of the soul thinking about that little piece of information.
A little mini paperclips moment.
We're going to have a special message from the new owner, proprietor, and operator of Legion Podcasts, Kevin. And right after that, our Legion Patreon ad. And following that, we're going to continue the theme. This week, we do have one band that has a female front person, I guess you would say, or a singer. And the rest of the band is gentlemen, but the female singer is incredible. And the rest of it is continuing with the theme I've been able to do since I've started it, all female bands otherwise. So we have at least a female fronted band and then an all female band, all Japanese origin. Once again, up first, right after the Legion Patreon ad, is Dazzle Vision Seikondo.
Hey everyone, this is Kevin. As many of you probably have heard, Bo will be heading back to school to become a teacher. Congratulations, Bo. As such, I'll be taking over the reins, managing and spreading the good word of Legion Podcasts. To kickstart things off, as an added thank you for patrons in June, Legion plans to have Steam code giveaways for current Patreon backers. A random person will be picked from the Patreon every other week or twice per month, and the winners can choose from the available Steam codes. Thank you so much for supporting Legion Podcasts. You can reach me on Twitter or the Legion Discord group. My username is @LonelyBob. See you around.
This'll keep it quiet. Oh, hi there. I didn't see you. You call me cutting a new show. I'm Bo Ransdell, and I'm one of the many creators you can find on Legion Podcasts. I said quiet! My fellow podcasters and I work hard to bring you the best in horror podcasting, but that comes at a cost.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Not that, but also yes. No, what I'm getting at is that there are server costs, costs for good microphones and software for editing, all the things that make our shows, fun to listen to. And you can help. If you're enjoying the shows on legionpodcasts.com or in the Legion Network available on iTunes and Stitcher, just about anywhere you can download a podcast, really, you can help us out and get a little something for your trouble at patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. For just $2 a month, you get a pair of movie commentaries exclusive to Patreon, and for $5, you can also join us for a monthly screening of a movie. All of that available on patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. We appreciate it, and thank you for listening. Now, back to the cutting room.
Dazzle Vision, motherfuckers, with Seikondo.
Damn. Good shit.
That's a female vocalist, and let me say, those grinds are way above awesome. When she gets that growl going, oh my god, that voice is fucking intense.
Yeah, nice. Hardcore.
Yeah, absolutely. I really dig Dazzlevision. I dig this song. I gotta check out more of their shit, my dude.
Hells yeah. I won't know what they're saying, but fuck it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know regardless whether it was in Japanese or not, just because you don't understand the growls.
That's very true. I don't speak Wookiee.
You know what else you don't really understand that well? What's going on in the movie we're covering.
No, I don't understand that either. Jesus Christ, like I walked into a Star Wars cantina and I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
You're just making more and more Star Wars references to get more and more memes.
That's goddamn right. You're goddamn right. All right. Wow. Sadako 2019. I'm assuming we have no trailer, no anything, right?
Yeah. We couldn't even get a subtitle that worked properly for us. There's
right.
no trailer.
No trailer. All right, well, the first 20 minutes we start out, we're in this apartment complex building, and we see drawings of a girl, like, kind of all over these doors and the outside, and you're like, hey, is that Sadako? There's some weird shit going on.
Very much looks like Sadako, and it looks like frantic, almost scrawling on your walls, crazy people drawing style.
Well, we're in one of the apartments now, and in the one room, there's, like, a baby's crib and everything. And then there's like a locked door to a closet. Well, in that closet, there's a little mobile going around that has a little girl doll with black hair. And we see a little girl in there. Then we see a woman outside. She's praying. She hears like a collapse. We get more of the creepy doll and this little girl. She's in this locked closet. You're starting to feel really bad for her. Then someone comes in carrying a gas can. And this person, she looks inside and says she's sorry. She realizes it must be lonely. That's kind of what I got from that. Then we see the old woman. She is going through all these rocks, and she says, this is the place she was buried. That's what she said.
Yes, that's exactly what she said.
This little girl's mom, who's on the outside of the closet, she thinks her daughter is Sadako, and she's going to burn them both alive. She's dumping gasoline all over the fucking place.
Oh, I want to point out one of the things you may not have been able to kind of get, because I noticed they use some Japanese versions of words instead of the actual words, and she actually calls her the reincarnation of Sadako, if what I read is correct. If I thought what I saw, because I thought I recognized the, like, it was like reincarnex or something like that, where it was like very much reincarnation, the word reincarnation, but like, you know, turned into more of a Japanese way of saying it. For instance, Dazzle's song Secondo is actually second. It's the word second, but just done that way, as far as I understand it. And I know that this is just kind of linguistics here, but I know that there was a lady that I worked with who told me that she worked very hard to be able to say in Japanese, what a beautiful orange sunset or something like that, to a lover that she went to go visit in Japan that was over there, right? And he kind of chuckled and said that no one used the word that she had been studying to learn for orange, that everyone just says orangey now.
Ha! Nice.
So it's one of those kinds of things, like how we would take a German word and make it English and change the pronunciation slightly, and then it becomes an English word. It's similar to that. Like, it's assimilated language is what I'm getting at. And I think that's what that word that she says, reincarnex or something similar to that, I couldn't remember. And it was probably misspelled anyway, but it seemed to me like they were trying to say that she is a reincarnation of Sadako, which would make sense if it's in that world where there are Sadako clones popping up everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
There, see, this is the kind of stuff I'm going to try and offer for explanation for you that, like, may be difficult.
All right, I gotcha. Well, right before, and then all of a sudden we go back to the old lady and we see something kind of shoot out of that hole. Well, Sadako's freed, and now all of a sudden the mom, right before she could light a match, she hears something. She turns around and there's Sadako standing in the corner. Then all of a sudden the closet busts open and the little girl comes out and she's standing there staring at Sadako. And then the lights kind of blow up and the sparks hit the gas and a fire starts and the whole place is set on fire. And we cut to a young doctor by the name of I'm just going to say Dr. Mayu. She's meeting with a patient and the patient seems to be, she's like, oh, I'm doing so great. You're the best doctor ever, blah, blah, blah. But this patient's sounding and acting very manic.
Yeah, it's quite unnerving, yes.
Yeah. Later on, her boss, Dr. Fuji, he cautions her about getting too close to her patients because, you could blur a line, which is very true.
What he's trying to say is, that bitch is scary. Please stay away from her and stop letting her be this way. You have to put a firm hand and break this connection.
Yeah. Later on, she checks on some kids and they're all watching videos on a phone and we see the video is of her bro doing just dumb shit for views and shit like that.
He's one of those guys that's trying to become YouTube famous and monetize YouTube videos, so he's literally doing any desperate challenge he can for attention.
Yeah. So then she meets her bro for lunch, and the conversation is pretty much like, hey, I thought you were going to be in school, all this, you got to stop this. And he's like, no, school never made me happy. This makes me happy. This is something I want to do. Just support me in this. It seems like they only have each other. And she's like, oh, okay. You know, she's just like, fine. So then anyway, we cut to, we see that little girl from the apartment fire. She is walking on a bridge, and this lady comes up and kind of kneels in front of her and asks if she's all right. And she seems to be in a very good mood, smiling. And then her smile goes away. She stands up and throws herself off the fucking bridge down to the ground. That seemed pretty hardcore. Just then a cop shows up and asks if everything's all right. The little girl looks back over, and there's no one there. So that was just some vision of a lady.
Okay. There's a couple things that we need to clear up with the apartment fire and shit here, okay?
Okay.
And there's the reason why the lady disappears when she jumps off the edge, okay?
Uh-huh.
It is alluded to in some way, shape, or form that the mother who was about to burn her child is psychic in some way. Yeah. And she had visions that her daughter is either the reincarnation of Sadako or will become the reincarnation of Sadako, whether or not I understand that. So the mother is going to burn this girl alive. That somehow is what causes Sadako to be released, because somehow Sadako is connected to this child. So Sadako gets released and comes for the mother to stop her from killing the child. This is Sadako killing with a mission to keep the child alive. That's why the child walks out through the fire and is untouched and actually takes Sadako's hand, who leads her away.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't mention that, and I need to bring that up. So the girl leaves the apartment fire because Sadako led her out and takes out the mother and then all these other people, and that somehow was able to cause that, just because she's that powerful now for some reason. The little girl walks away, and at this point, knowing that the mom is psychic and knowing that psychics in the World of the Ring series, particularly with Heido Nakata, and again, I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize, but in the world that he creates for the Ring, psychic people see dead people, no problem, and even victims of the Ring or victims of Sadako, they can see them as well, because remember, the boy was able to see them, Ryuji was able to speak with some of them because the daughter came to haunt them and whatnot. This little girl is seeing a victim of the suicide curse because her face changes because she was looking at something and jumps, and she's seeing the ghostly apparition of what's left behind from that suicide.
That seems to be.
There's other people that die like that as well, and she sees them and sees these visions. So it's similar to what we had in Sadako 3D2 with the little girl that could see how people were going to die as well, that was tied with Sadako because she had some kind of psychic ability. It's the same thing here. So we have that kind of continuity that I just wanted to bring up.
All right. So anyway, so the doctors are now looking after the girl. She's in the hospital now, and she says she has no memory. She can't remember anything.
We don't know if that's trauma or what.
Yeah. The doctors are then gonna get ready to leave, and a nurse said police are there. They meet with the police outside, and they say it's about the girl that was just brought in. So then we cut to the bros in his room talking to his buddy. He's losing views, and he tells his buddy he wants to go check out these haunted apartments and maybe move his channel to a different area, like a haunted thing, instead of being goofy.
That guy's not his buddy, it's his sort of paid consultant, and they've kind of become friends, yeah.
All right. But anyways, in his consultant there, his buddies tells him trust him instead. Don't do this. Listen to me. That's kind of what I was getting from this.
Yeah, the guy's making a desperate move by going to these, switching up his channel from goofy challenge and fun
to do
haunted stuff because he thinks that'll get him more clicks. And it's such a dramatic change. The advisor guy is right. Don't do it.
Yeah. Don't do it. Well, we cut to the cops are telling the doctors that there's no record of this girl existing. Like, her mom gave birth to her in private, and there's no school that has ever heard of her. But they do think that she is from this apartment fire.
It's terrifying to think that that can still happen in this world, right? That, a child can be born and sequestered away and no one even knows they exist.
Exactly. Well, they start questioning the child, and the child does that Sadako look that so far, every girl who's had some psychic powers in all these movies, it's the same look they all give when they're going to start using their power. Dr. Maya kind of looks around, and there's this little sand neighborhood playground thing. It's small though, so it's not like a sandbox. It's just this little play thing with a neighborhood in it and stuffed toys. And all of a sudden a sinkhole starts opening up in it, and shit goes really weird in there. And Doctor's the only one who recognizes it. She gets up and stops the interview, saying the young girl's been through too much and she needs to rest. That's the end of the first 20 minutes.
I think you were looking for like community playground is what it was. It was just a small little community playground.
Because it's not a playground. Because it's a small little thing for kids to, like, they can't, like, climb in it. It's like little toys were built on this little, like, almost like, what's that fucking thing a lot of people have at their desks where they can rake the sand and shit?
Oh, yeah.
Relaxation.
Zen garden. So Zen garden.
Zen garden. Think of a Zen garden, only a little bit bigger and with, like, little buildings and little cars and toys in it. And then she creates a sinkhole in a fucking little toy. It's scary as shit.
That's fucking hilarious. But yeah, it was pretty fucking cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was a cool effect. And you know, it's the first time we saw a girl do the power head move. So you start going, oh shit, here you go. You know, and this is what you wait for.
Okay, so this girl clearly has some powers. Whether or not she's a Sadako clone, we don't know. But her powers appear to be similar to Sadako in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
Yeah. So far, we kind of covered all the stuff that I really needed to get to as to what's going on. But the story that we have so far in that cave that we saw, that is definitely the drowning cave from Ring 2.
Yes.
What they've done now is they have closed it off to tourists, and they've realized what a horrible and shameful thing that is, and they have sealed it up. But we don't
know that yet.
Well, they have sealed it up. That they've definitely sealed up that cave, and we know that that's the drowning cave.
That was the explosion earlier.
Right.
So yeah, they sealed it up.
Right. And the thing that they've changed in this movie is that somehow that cave now contains Sadako's spirit and keeps her curse trapped.
Yes.
We don't know how that happened at all. Maybe that's where the stuff from the novel Tide comes in. I have no fucking clue. But I have to say, this set where we're back at the drowning caves for unwanted children, which is a horrific thing to have to say, but is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving Sadako trapped in a place of such misery can only amplify her power to me. Like, it would make sense. You think that would be something that she could feed off of. So why would anybody logically trap her there unless this is a place that she has gravitated towards for the next stage in her revenge plot?
Yeah.
You know, like that's the only reason I can think that maybe she is anchored there. And if that's the case, that she's able to choose where she's at, that's even more fucking terrifying in this movie for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta say, the first 20 minutes of this film have a great, super eerie fucking setup, and then just go right for the fucking jugular with the Sadako appearance just right off the bat, causing a fucking fire, and then just walking a child out by hand. Like, what the fuck is going on in the beginning of this movie? Like, I want to know why Sadako would save a child like this. She clearly has no qualms about killing them if they saw her videotape earlier. So if she's saving this child, specifically her, she's coming back to do this.
Maybe for a body to inhabit.
Or yeah, right. At the very least, which is still fucking terrifying to me.
Yeah, still pretty fucking bad.
Right. I've got all these ideas about what could possibly happen going through my head. And then they throw in the stuff with the hospital, and that lady's super creepy. And I wonder what the fuck's going on with her. And what I start realizing is this movie is bringing back, for me, the little pieces of mystery of like, hey, what the fuck is happening here? What is going on? This is really bizarre shit, you know?
It's also throwing at you a lot of areas where shit can go so dastardly wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot of dread.
You're in a psych, you're not just in a hospital, you're also, the hospital shares with a psych clinic, so you're getting mentally disturbed people. Sadaku's getting loose, which is never fucking good. It doesn't ever make anybody feel, like, think rationally. You know, shit's going bad.
Yeah, and on top of it all, the little girl is extremely fucking creepy. As we were praising the child that was in Sadako 3D2, this little actress leaves her in the fucking dust for me.
Oh yeah, big time.
She is so good at just turning on a dime and going from sweet and innocent to like fucking Sadako's reincarnation whenever she's supposed to be embodying that in some way.
Exactly.
The actress that's playing Sadako in this one, the body controls and the motions, I think they animated it a little bit by doing stop frame or skip frame. I know that they filmed her backwards like they used to do in Ring 2 and Ring 1. That the same director did that same technique. We brought that back. So her motions are bizarre and jerky. And the way she comes out of the well is horrifying when we see that later. Like, there's a lot of stuff about this film to really, really like that I wish I had better fucking subtitles to understand the story.
Yeah, right? No shit. Just a little something better.
Yeah, I just want to point that out, that there are, as much as we might be trying to fumble our way through it, there is some amazing fucking visuals in this movie, and I'm not going to deny that at all. And there's some really creepy atmospheric moments. And like, I've seen people fucking hating all over this movie, and I just don't understand why. Like, I don't get it. Maybe it's not what you were expecting it to be, and that's totally fine. But I wasn't expecting it to be anywhere near what I got, and I'm very pleasantly surprised at this point in the first 20 minutes already.
I think people like, and I'll say it, I think think, especially if you talk to more probably in the American audience who might have seen this, and if they have complaints about it, it could be that they like their Sadako / Ring movies to stick to the story of, her mother was psychic. They don't like the tomb of the unwanted children that are drowned. I don't think they like that added to what became known as the original story, no matter how close what is to the book and what isn't. I think they all think about the movie, and it's just, hey, this little girl was the product of her mother, who was, psychic, and a father who wanted to try to prove that. There was an accident. The little girl grew up to be a young lady who was too powerful. The father was scared about it, killed her, and dumped her in a well, and that created a fucking curse. I think people just like that simplicity of it. And now with all these different stories, I think it's just because of what story it decides to follow. Instead of the traditional one, it's following this one that's maybe more in the book. Maybe that affects people's liking of it.
Okay. I hear your argument.
Not so much about how it was made, how it was acted, or anything like that.
Hang on. I'm going purely story simplicity, okay? I hear your argument, but everything that's in this film that they flesh out is hinted at in some way, shape, or form, going back all the way to Ring 1.
Like I said, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying what some people might think.
Yeah, if you were the type of person that ignores the fact that they keep saying that the father of Sadako was not the doctor, it was something else from the water that they say in Ring 1. They hint that her father may have been a deep one of some sort, or like some kind of weird elder god that lives in the ocean, right?
Yeah.
So that goes back to Ring 1. So some of the hinting at that we do get in this film goes back to Ring 1. Some of the hinting at with this drowning caves that you brought up as well that's here, that's in Ring 2. So if they didn't like Ring 2 at all, I would accept that argument from them. But if they liked Ring 2, sorry, the drowning caves are part of the story brought up in Ring 2. And the old man brings her there because he says something about Sadako in this cave. I can't remember exactly what it was, and they just kind of fleshed that out here in this last one.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I agree. If you liked Ring 2, you should like this one.
Yeah.
I don't get why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Now, if you disliked Ring 2, then I get why you would dislike this one.
Right. So I can see why you would dislike this one because it continues with that same storyline. But if you dislike Ring 2, I'll accept that. Sure, you're just a Ring 1 purist. Cool. I'll accept that. I'll just have to respectfully disagree with you because I think there's plenty more to love in Ring 2.
Yeah, you won't respectfully do anything.
I will disrespectfully do everything, you motherfucker. Does that make you happier, Matt?
That's right. Now you're at it.
Okay, but if you like Ring 2, you should also like what's going on with this one because it just fleshes out the story even more. And that's coming from a guy who could barely read the fucking subtitle.
Yeah, right. No shit. Jesus Christ. I couldn't read shit.
Let's move on. I meant me, but whatever.
Well, I also couldn't read shit.
Yeah, as difficult as I was finding it, I felt really bad for you, and that's why I wanted to warn you up front that shit like that was happening.
All right. So the next 20 minutes starts. The brother arrives at the complex getting ready to shoot. Then we cut to a nurse. She checks in on the girl, but she's not really responding. She's just singing her a song to herself, all that. So the nurse tells Dr. Mayu that the girl is kind of creeping everyone out, makes people uncomfortable. She hasn't eaten. She's not really doing anything to sustain herself. Then the doctor thanks the nurse for the fresh flowers at her desk. She thought it was really nice, and the nurse like, I didn't give those to you. So the doctor's like, well, what the fuck? How am I getting these fucking flowers? Then the other little kids, they start making fun of the little girl because she's not speaking, not anything. Nothing's happening. So they start making fun of her and doing shit, and she flings a metric shit ton of crap at them, supplies at them, and they all start fucking crying, and it's a big fiasco, and as all the nurses are trying to get everything, settled down, the little girl sneaks away. She gets into an elevator, and as she's going down, there's this old man with crazy fucking weird eyes and really scary dude talking to her, and then all of a sudden he's just disappeared and gone. The elevator doors open, and Dr. Maya is standing there and, grabs the girl.
Once again, that was another ghost.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out, when the boys were bullying her, they encircle her and chant some horrific thing at her, making fun of her.
About how she's the village kid because she has no parents.
Yeah, they're basically making fun of her for being an orphan, which we have already established you don't fucking do.
No, that's some fucking rude ass shit.
Yeah, that's some serious fucking bullshit. But anyway, I just got done watching Stranger Things latest season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, well, I just want to say that the psychic power that she uses to attack them and that exploding for them picking on her just reminded me of the latest season.
Nice. So anyway, we see some dudes are checking out the brother's videos that he's made. And they're kind of laughing, having a good time watching them. And all of a sudden a skull pops up in them. And they all kind of freak out like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Mayu, she visits the little girl and she won't eat or play. The little girl does tell her about how her mom would lock her in the closet and sometimes bring her food, but not all the time.
How do you not call your child protection services immediately to find out how to get this girl some better counseling?
Yeah, right. No shit. And then Mayu reaches out and touches the little girl, and she has a vision of when Mayu was a little girl herself, and she was just this lonely girl and kind of just sitting on a bed alone and all that. Because the little girl even states, "I can tell you know what it's like to be alone." The little girl looks up and she sees Sadako in the TV reflection. She gets up and leaves the room, but passes right out when she leaves, probably because she has no fucking, strength to do anything. Then, the two doctors are talking, and Fuji does remind Mayu that she cannot get too close to this. She's getting too involved, like emotionally. But then, after all that, she gets a call from her bro's friend / publicist, whatever.
Consultant dude, whatever that guy is, yeah.
That he has not heard from her brother in a long time. So they meet for coffee, and he tells her how he went to that apartment, like all the story from that apartment, that he took a video, and the cops made them take the video down that he posted, but it's still up on the net if she wants to see it. Then we see, he talks about the last time he saw his friend. When he came back after filming that, he was a different person. They got into a fight. That guy left his apartment and never heard from him since. Later on that night, Mayu checks the video and watches it, and he tells the story about the apartment fire, all that happened the month before, and how the mom apparently supposedly had powers, and she could heal and do other things. So he gets through all the, police tape, lock shit, all that, and he finds the closet where the chain was. He finds the lock on the floor. He opens it and he states there's a bunch of charms in there and charm writings and things to protective spells and such.
Yeah, he recognizes some of the stuff. He points out what he refers to as a fetish doll at one point, and what like the Zuni fetish doll, where it's like just a totem of something. It represents something else. That's what that term means. And he points out a few of those types of things. And it seems like he obviously didn't know that they were in there, but he knew about these kinds of things because he was apparently reading up on it before he did this ghost walk, right?
Yeah.
And actually, the kid's keeping his fucking head together, no matter how scared he clearly is in this room. And he's playing it up for the camera, and he's doing a great job. If this is how he's going to go, he needs to drop the cornball, super awesome fun time attitude he had before. But he would actually be a decent ghost hunter. It bears saying. He does okay here. He
does his homework on the area. He talks about it. Yeah, he does a good thing.
Yeah, he's not terrible at this. It's just that this is not my bag. Just to say, it's just not my thing.
This sort of thing is not my bag, baby.
Right. I even wrote a book about it. But I will say, from what I've seen of other of this ghost hunter stuff, or just parodies of it in horror films, he's actually pretty good. He's a decent YouTuber. He has a chance, right?
Yeah, right. I think so. Well, he did.
Yeah, let's get on with that.
He sees something and he runs. She rewinds it right to where he supposedly sees something, and there's a glitch in the film, and once again we see skulls, much like what those other guys saw, and that's the end of that 20 minutes. So I don't know if you had much else to say.
Yeah, actually, I do. I wanted to comment on the YouTubing thing because we were in the moment there, and I was really impressed with what he did, and I was like, damn, this kid knows what he's doing, Yeah,
he really does, and I've seen a lot of ghost hunting shows.
Okay, I will definitely take your word for it then, because I know that
he's doing pretty well, especially because he did the homework for it.
Yeah, he had a lot of great information, and he helped set up the spooky information and the general atmosphere of discomfort as he's going up the stairs, because a lot of these are very similar. They have a formula that they usually follow. I'm not saying that as a destructive criticism. That's how TV shows work. There's a formula for a TV show, and that's how you write around it,
Yeah, of course.
You're right. It's just the same thing with certain movies. Fuck, I love horror movies, and there's a lot of horror movies that are very formulaic. I'm looking at you fucking slasher franchises.
Right?
At least they should be, because that's what we keep coming back for, because we love the junk food for the brain. But anyway, we're not reviewing any of those right now. We're sticking with this.
No, of course not.
The plot is thickening, and what they're doing here with him going through in that video, as he's kind of doing the recording, and she goes through and kind of watches it and notices some things in it, they're really building some suspense, and it's really creepy. You mentioned earlier where they had seen that skull pattern in the video when they were like filming. They were going to pull a prank on the YouTuber brother.
Mm-hmm.
Those two other YouTuber guys, they wanted to make a video pulling a prank on him.
Uh-huh.
And when they were filming him, like kind of preparing the shot and making a plan, that's when those skulls flashed up. If you pay attention, she barely notices it, but you can see a very similar still frame of those skulls on his video. And then when we get into the next 20
minutes. That's what I was just pointing out.
Yeah. I really like that. And then the film goes on to kind of show, like, she keeps going back to that frame even more, like kind of obsessively. And that's when you realize that she's starting to go down the well, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So again, story-wise, if you're willing to just suspend the things that you expect out of a Ring film and just enjoy this as the story that it is, I can get behind this stuff. This isn't going too far afield from Ghost Curse, from super powerful psychic that may be the daughter of a fucking monster god from the ocean. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, we're following that storyline. So like, there's nothing that's too drastic of a change for me here. You know, we're not doing genetic clones of her in this, so I'm cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's not some cloning system or something.
Right. Like, we're not having the daughter of this super powerful clone being with all of these psychic powers attacking her / him and, winning the day. That's not happening here. We're not going so far afield of where we started at all.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, I just want to state that I am really enjoying what I'm seeing so far. And so far, you've done really well with the dialogue. I don't remember if we were talking about this or if we skipped over it. Did we mention the previous thing about the brother talking about how he doesn't want to go to school? He wants to be a YouTube presenter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When the sister first meets the buddy, she does talk to him about that and kind of accuses him of encouraging that. And he's actually shocked. He's like, no, I was just under the assumption that he was enjoying school and still going to school. Otherwise, I wouldn't have helped him, or something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah. She does have a talk. She thought, he was going to school still, didn't realize he was doing those videos. So.
Right. And then so did his buddy. His buddy thought he was doing the videos, but was still going to school and was going to continue schooling.
Yeah.
And was surprised and a little saddened to hear that somehow the hyping and encouragement that he had done as like his consultant for him had driven him to this, and he felt bad about it because this also drove him to what may have ultimately been the fate that made him disappear. And that's what motivates that character. That's why I bring that up, is that guilt trip that she lays on him without realizing that he didn't know either hit him so effectively for what ended up happening to this character. It's the YouTuber brother, that he ends up being drawn into going into the investigation and helping her. It's that guilt from that feeling from that statement. That's why I bring it up, in case we didn't mention it.
All right. Yeah, and that is true. So the next 3 minutes starts. She goes to the cops to report her brother missing, and kind of the cops are kind of, dismissing her, but she's like, no, you don't understand. He wouldn't just leave me. He's the only one who didn't leave. So we could kind of get in the point where Mayu wasn't raised in a traditional family, probably was raised in a foster home or an orphanage, and when all the other kids left, her brother, her adopted brother, whatever brother, was the only one who didn't leave. So that's kind of what I'm getting.
Yes. So the guy's not her biological brother, but they were raised together in this same
orphanage.
But they call it something different, but it's an orphanage.
Yeah, whatever it is to them. But while all the other kids got to leave, she didn't, and she always felt like she was abandoned, except for her brother. She later on is investigating the video a bit more, and she actually sees, when he has his little freak out, like he sees something, all of a sudden you can see Sadako in the background. So then she decides to leave for the night at the hospital, and she hears someone walking. Well, she goes and she sees that very first manic patient from the beginning with flowers going into her office. We see that she is the one doing the flowers. As they talk, the lady brings out some scissors that she uses, to cut the flowers. But this kind of makes the doctor nervous. She's already on edge. Now, okay, once again, just understand that this is what I get from everything. She pretty much is trying to politely tell her not to do this anymore, that she needs to step back. She can't do this. And the lady kind of flips out, of course, and she's like, why am I so angry? Why am I so angry? And threatening her with the scissors. The doctor falls down. She's scooting back. The lady's probably pretty much chasing her with scissors, but then the lady stops. She looks up with fear in her eyes, and there's the little girl, and she's doing the head down, looking at her. She's channeling something there.
Or is something using her as a conduit to this world?
Yeah, well, it stops her, the woman, from attacking. The little girl then passes out, and then in the lounge, the TV comes on, and the woman looks over, and it's the well. And she almost, it's like she knows what it is, and she falls down.
And there's a good reason for that she knows what it is.
Exactly, and we'll hear about that soon.
And how nice is it to have the actual fucking creepy video just pop up on a screen, and it's the same one that we're used to seeing?
That made me feel good. That was the well. Sadako crawls out.
To use the terminology you love, I popped.
Yeah, same here. I popped big time for that one. I was like, ooh, it's the video, it's the video. And Sadako crawls out, crawls right up against the woman. And right at that point, the doctor tries to pick up the little girl and tries to leave, but then Sadako grabs her leg and all of a sudden comes up on her, and the doctor passes out. At this point, we cut to the doctors. They're all trying to wake everyone up. The lady won't let anyone even touch her. She's freaking out. Fuji then gets Mayu away from everything. They're talking. The little girl is now in a coma in ICU. Let's see here. All of a sudden, while they're talking, Mayu ends up in the closet that little girl was in. And the mother's talking to her from outside of it. All the same shit from before. The lights go out. She looks over. There's the little girl. The little girl disappears, and then Sadako comes at her. And Maya wakes up in her own bed with rings on her arm.
Oh, I noticed this in this particular film, and I thought this was the case, but I didn't want to say for sure. Those rings aren't just rings. That's like Sadako grabbed her arm and is marked from the hand. It's like bruising from the hand grabbing on her like a cold
I just
burn.
call it rings, though.
Right, but we need to state at some point that that's actually what those represent, those rings. You can call them rings, that's fine, but they're basically the fingerprint indentions.
Because they grabbed her arm,
Right, exactly. Yeah, we kind of alluded to it, but I need to flat out fucking say it because calling them rings just makes it too fun.
Yeah. Well, the doc has enough of this. She goes to visit the crazy lady and asks about Sadako and wants to know what's going on because she heard the lady even say the name Sadako earlier when Sadako was coming at her. So she knows who Sadako is. The lady tells the story of Sadako and about the cursed video and how all her friends died in school by the Sadako curse and how they would all kill themselves or because it was Sadako making them do it. The doctor doesn't want to believe it. She almost can't believe it. But then the lady grabs her, and the doctor has a vision of the lady actually seeing Sadako when she was younger in high school. And then all the other times, then she started thinking about all the other times she had seen Sadako in the videos and such for their brother. And she now knows her brother's also cursed. That ends that 20 minutes before we go into the next one.
Okay, it's very important to note that the vision she sees is actually from Ring 2, the girl that ends up in the asylum. That's this woman.
Yeah.
She never left the asylum. She just got slightly better each time.
Yeah, so that's why she was there, was because of Sadako.
Right, and I think that when the little girl sees her, and then the little girl sees the woman that is defending her, and, the doctor that is interested in taking care of her, being assaulted by this woman, who's very clearly at her wit's end at this moment, and something bad is about to happen, I think that Sadako uses a child in channels and tries to reclaim someone that she almost lost.
That could be, yeah. Like, hey, shit, I remember you, motherfucker.
Right. But what's interesting is Sadako doesn't take her life. This is a very interesting way. She scares her right back to the state she was in before.
I think she would have taken her life, but the doctor tried to take off with the little girl.
And that got her to run after them or to try and
got her
find
to go
the
after
girl.
them instead. Yeah.
Yeah, because Sadako, I don't know if Sadako's coming for the little girl. I think it's just that when the little girl gets terrified, Sadako comes and kills everyone who's terrifying. And because Sadako's protecting. Yeah, maybe she's coming to claim for here, but all I have to say is the way that the actress that's playing Sadako moves her body against that woman and just kind of slowly, almost slithers up her like a snake is so fucking horrifying. It's so fucking creepy. They must have hired someone who is like a dancer that has that much control over their body to be able to do it. And also when they're coming up out of the well, obviously the person that's playing Sadako is being filmed backwards because the hair comes out in such a way that you could only do if you drag it up and over, but they're actually actually doing the reverse where you see it come up and out of the well and moves like a snake. And that's very much the director that's done the other two. That's how he had Sadako moving, very similar to that, but they've really kind of perfected it here. That well emergence is probably the best in the series. It's so well crafted.
It is really well done. Yeah.
And then the way
it's creepy as shit.
The way she comes through the TV as well, like how slow motion it is. The CG's a little kind of ropey, but not terrible, but it really works and it looks pretty cool. You can tell that it's CG, but I mean, it's still very, very detailed.
I thought it was pretty well fucking done.
Yeah, it's not like Disney money level CG, but it's pretty fucking good for whatever budget horror film from Japan this is, you know?
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was more than satisfied with it. Just because I could tell it was CG doesn't mean it was bad. It just means that I could tell, you know? I can always tell it's CG because you know when it's CG. It's just some of it looks so photorealistic you don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this just didn't look as photorealistic as it possibly could, I would think. But then again, it's
still looked pretty good.
Yeah, but it's a fucking supernatural entity that is perpetuating a curse to kill all of humanity crawling out of a TV. How the fuck should that look?
It should look
for
great.
Photorealism.
Let's look real.
Right. I'm all in at this point.
Whatever real is.
Right. Okay. I'm all in at this point. Like, I am fucking having a fucking hoot of a time watching this movie at this point. I'm not 100% sure I'm following the story yet, other than I know for sure from that vision that's definitely the girl from Ring 2 that watched Sadako come through the hall because they reused that footage and I recognized. Yeah. So that I know for sure. And seeing her as an older lady and tying it back to that film and showing that all these years later, it's still the same Sadako and still the same curse. That has me so fucking jazzed, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's pretty fucking awesome. And that was totally creepy, the woman watching, seeing Sadako walking and then Sadako's head turning and looking at her from the doorway.
Yeah. They bring it fucking back.
Yeah, bringing it back.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and it's played in a flashback where someone's being forced to view that psychically and know what she feels when she's feeling that terror, right?
Yeah.
I think this is a pretty well-crafted third film in a trilogy, if you will, because that's how it feels to be that it is crafted to me.
Yeah.
And
it's actually really good.
Yeah, it's just super frustrating to watch when you don't have the right subtitles, which is not the fault of the film. It's the fault of Court for not being able to get better subtitles for you.
Well, it's not your fault. Nobody created any of them.
Right. I had to resort to fan sub, my dude, so this is what we get. Yeah. Let's move on to the next 20.
All right, next 20. She is watching older vids of her brother, Mayu is, and that her brother made, and then the ring pops up on the videos. And then she sees a lot of cuts of death, lots of skulls, and then a photo of her brother going back and forth, not feeling all that great.
If you pay attention, these are actually visions of the future. What she is actually seeing is a connection to Sadako and the curse of Sadako. But what she's seeing is her future that's about to play out because of that curse in these images.
True. Oh, yeah. Big time.
You don't realize that when you're watching it. I'm just telling you that now, folks, because it's a very prophetic fucking Ring video. And the reason that it's so different, and I know that people probably bitch that they changed the video completely, but the reason that it's so different is it's a new tale and it's a new thing. And it's specifically telling this person she's having that vision connected to that curse. This is what's going to happen to you. And she does it anyway. She goes, even though she kind of knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, she kind of, but that's all to save her brother. So
right. I mean, basically, that's kind of what the curse is anyway. It shows you imagery that is going to be the result of your death, and then you die.
Yeah, exactly. So she gets a call from the brother's friend and states that a photo of her brother's been found, and she's like, "I've already seen it," and she must see the videos, all that kind of stuff. It means what she meant was she saw the video that had the photo in it. Then we cut to that crazy lady's in a room. She keeps hearing water dripping, and she's a puddle on the floor and a lot of water upcoming. She's sitting on her bed. All of a sudden, hair comes up, envelops her feet, and she screams. Then we cut back to the friend shows Maya and tells her the story of the tomb of the unwanted kids, who get drowned and all that. And says some of the same symbols that are on the altar were in that closet in the apartment fire.
And this is where she points out the fetish doll that her brother also pointed out. So clearly she's done some of the same edumacation as him.
Yeah. the friend then tells her about the curse and how it's all anyone is talking about right now is video curse. She then shows him an article from Sadako's mom's demonstration during the whole, how all this began. And she figures that her brother is now in Sadako's hometown. So, then she gets a call from Dr. Fuji that, the crazy lady, it was found dead. And when they removed the bed, there she was with the scare face, all that shit. States that, she's gonna go and find her bro, and the friend says he's gonna go with her to help. On the boat, they talk, and she says that her bro is definitely cursed, and he can't believe she would believe that. But she's like, trust me, that's kind of what fucking's happening. So they get to the whole area. They're kind of trying to investigate, and a cop comes up saying, you can't be in this area. There's a lot of work being done. They're detonating shit, all that. And they say that her brother's missing, and that they think he was last seen here. So now we see a whole bunch of cops are searching. They got a lot of people out there searching, and this old lady shows up. And, okay, here's a story I really couldn't get. The only thing I could get is that high tide and the full moon were coming tonight. So if they couldn't find them tonight, everything was about to be washed away.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. As close as I can glom, the police interrupt them from going into the cave because you will drown if you go into that cave. That is a drowning cave. When there's a full moon at this time, the tide actually gets pulled into the point where it fills up the entirety of that cave.
Yeah.
Is the point when the full moon hits, okay? The police warn her of that. Now, a woman comes and starts, like the old woman we saw earlier, she's actually the one that was trying to, I guess, be part of containing Sadako's spirit, or at least is the harbinger of the fact that Sadako's spirit has escaped. And that's when she says, if your brother is actually in there when the moon gets full, they're going to be drowned. They're going to be swept away. This is going to happen. That's what she warns as well. And then she basically tells them that they have no rights. She's trying to say that they can't be here. Some of this is their fault. And she gives them some of the story of what's going on with the drowning cave a little bit, but some of this was in like a Japanese language that didn't get translated over, and then some of it was in like a quick succession and was really hard to read. But basically, the history that we already know of this cave as a drowning cave, she lays down for them in that tale, and basically says no tourists are allowed. This place is cursed because of that, and she doesn't really bring up Sadako, but talks about basically somehow Sadako may have been trapped in this cave or has something to do with this cave without actually saying her name.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
So we're getting the harbinger, basically, like, you don't want to go down that road, and going down that road is literally stay the fuck away from that cave, you will die.
Don't want to go down that road.
Right. That's the whole of this scene with everything that the fucking cops had to tell them and everything the old lady had to tell them.
Yeah. All right. Cool. That's good to know.
The movie focuses in on the full moon and high tide again. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Then they remember on the video that they all saw a lot of when you were looking up at the well. A lot of times there was a full moon there, so they remembered that as well.
And is this the point when she looks at her phone of the actual picture?
Yeah.
Oh, she also mentions that she notices that the full moon has moved in just a picture, not a video.
Oh,
she has one solid picture, and the moon has actually moved in there. So now she has a way of tracking the moon and what may happen with her brother because the picture is moving, and Sadako is literally taunting her to come get her brother.
Oh, all right.
See, knowing that makes the movie even better for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. On the car ride, as they're riding back into town, or like back where they could, the hotel or whatever, she does state that her brother was her only friend. You do the flashback. This is the flashback to when they're in this orphanage, whatever, and the brother does his weird goofy face and it makes her laugh, and, because she was really sad. So, there you go.
When she has a talk with him about being a YouTube presenter, she's almost glad that he's doing the goofy thing. She just doesn't want him to do it for a living, is the only thing she's worried about, because she does love that he is trying to spread joy in the world, because he's one of the things that got her out of that orphanage that they both were stuck in. He helped her stay happy, and that's what he's good at. That's important to note. So that memory is very pertinent to the whole reason why she's trying to save his life.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's fucking real good stuff, like seeing their relationship. Now you know why this means so much to her. And the little girl is still in a coma. And then later on, the sister, she's going to drive back to the cliff. She doesn't care. And the friend actually shows up and goes, give me the keys. They're going to go together. That's the end of that 20 minutes, and we're heading into the final 20.
Okay, so the final 20 is going to be the real crazy shit that has to happen.
This is where shit goes nuts.
Yeah. There is some scrubbing she does through the video that helps them find the cave and and stuff like that we didn't mention. And I mean, there's some like serious details that they really get into that we didn't talk about them going on the hunt to get through the caves and to find locations in the caves using the videos. And it's really cool. Like, hey gang, let's solve this mystery, like sleuthing that needs to be discussed. But the fact that it's there is completely overwashed by the creepy fucking sense of foreboding they just keep shoving at you and piling on more and more foreboding. Like, it just feels horrifying and it just keeps getting worse. Like, the closer they get to the cave, this long walk that they have, it literally reminded me of Pet Sematary, where you knew where they were going, they were not meant to be, yet they keep treading there. Like, by the time they get to the entrance of the cave, we're at the point where they're walking on that soured land that they were talking about, that they go to bury, that is the Pet Cemetery, where clearly nothing has been able to grow for centuries.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So you're just like, fuck, this is gonna get real fucking, it's all foreboding and fucking scary shit.
Yeah, and it's really well done, and I'm so glad that we've got the same gentleman who did Ring 1 and 2 back here to make this film, because he does an excellent job of pushing the creep the fuck out of court psyops button.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I really enjoy his filmmaking. I don't care if it doesn't work for the people that are his detractors. Let me have this.
Yeah, right. Help me out. Let me have this one, motherfuckers.
I'm ready to move on and let's wrap this up.
All right, final 20 starts. They get to the scary area, is what I'm just going to call it. I don't like calling it the fucking actual name of it.
Yeah, the fact that it's an infant drowning cave, yeah, I wouldn't wonder why you would hate that.
Scary area. We're just going to call it the scary area. Don't know why you have to go calling it anything else, Court. It's the scary area.
Unwanted children drowning cave. You got it.
Jesus Christ, will you fucking shut up? As she looks inside, like the rock, where the old lady kind of saw where the collapse was, she looks in there for her brother and something pulls her in, and then a rock falls again, closing off the door. The friend's trying to loosen the rock to get into the scary place.
That was actually Sadako's arm that was pulling her into the infant drowning cave before the rock actually hit.
What'd you call it?
Infant drowning cave.
It's a scary place, Court.
Unwanted children
Scary
drowning
place.
cave. Right, okay.
No, scary place. What the fuck's wrong with you? You don't have to call it the other thing. Everyone knows what it is.
I'm sorry it makes you that uncomfortable to realize that it's a fucking cave that was meant only to drown unwanted children.
Who does it that make feel uncomfortable?
It's just a story, so me.
Fuck off.
Okay, we can move on. I'm sorry.
All right. Jesus. So she wakes up, and now it looks like she's at the bottom of the well, because you see the tube going all the way up and shit. She sees the altar for where they did the horrible things, and she finds her bro there, but he is completely freaking out, not making any sense, just kind of muttering to himself.
He seems to be a person that is in complete shock and may have lost his mind to the terror that Sadako has subjected him to. Like,
yeah.
I've seen people in that state before, and they've done a whole lot of fucking drugs to get them there.
Yeah, well, and almost anybody who's encountered Sadako in any sense always ends up this way, like a mush, until she decides to end it. So then she sees the little girl standing in some water, and she has a vision of a lady lighting a candle at the altar while holding the baby. We know this baby is now Sadako because she even says it. She puts the baby down, and the lady says that she has no other choice but to do that, and then leaves, which somewhat changes the Sadako narrative of, she was an adult and her dad killed her into a well. The vision is over, so she sees the little girl, and a bunch of the other kids who had died are coming up now to drag her into the water, and we see the little girl at the hospital is crashing.
That little girl being dragged in the water was one of the elements of the video we saw earlier whenever she watched it.
Yeah. As the kids are dragging her down, the doctor, Mayoshi, grabs her. She says she's not alone. She'll protect her, and she will not let her die. She'll never let go. She loves her, all this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, the little girl wakes up in the hospital. She's now not in her coma. Mayo's still holding on to the little girl in the well. She now looks at the water, and there's no kids pulling at her. It's all skulls in this clear water.
Also from the video.
Yes.
Some of those skulls are very clearly smashed infants where they couldn't wait for the drowning to happen, or the drowning caused the skull fracture. It's hard to tell what was actually going on in the cave of unwanted children being drowned.
Yeah. As Mayo's getting out, the friend gets in, and he's helping her, and all of a sudden Sadako grabs Mayo and starts dragging her away. Well, this snaps her brother back into reality, and he tries to save her. But Sadako grabs him, starts dragging him away, and no matter how much they start pulling, they can't get him out and he tells her, I'm sorry, just run away, get away from here. Sadako has her brother and drags him away. We now cut to, we're back in the hospital, and the doctor is fairly disturbed. Mayo is now fairly disturbed. She's sitting on the floor next to her hospital bed, and there's the curtain is completely closed around her. We see the little girl comes out, and she is healthy and fine, does not seem to have the issues that she has had. She thanks the doctor for helping her and for saving her, and she leaves. We see the doctor is just kind of still. She's constantly looks afraid. And she hears water dripping, and that makes her disturbed. Then all of a sudden we see an outline of Sadako walking from outside the curtain. Curtain opens, crazy Sadako eyes. Doctor is looking super scared. Roll credits.
Okay, the reason that Sadako was tied to this cave is we learned that when Sadako's mother gave birth to her, Sadako's mother decided Sadako was an unwanted child and therefore took her to the cave where you do not want children and leave them to drown.
Exactly.
Sadako is the only known child to quote-unquote survive, but what I submit to you is the fact that her father may have been this beast from the ocean that we know of from part 0. All that ended up happening is the drowning cave for unwanted infants and children is just basically a sacrifice to this god of the sea to protect the island.
Yeah. So, Jesus.
The fact that
there's a lot involved here.
Yeah, but I'm just saying this goes back to 0. This is just something that I'm kind of putting in here because it's heavily implied that whatever was killing the infants and or children that were not wanted in this cave by drowning, for some reason spared Sadako, or maybe Sadako died and the curse has been from this initial drowning all along, and that's why she's here now, because this is the true point of origin.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was able to rebirth herself multiple times or whatever. But what I like to prefer is this god thing that, had to do with Sadako's birth that they kept referencing from the ocean that wasn't right, that the daughter kept talking to and shit. This is Sadako's true father. And so to find her in the drowning cave, or to realize that she's in the drowning cave, of course it's going to make her survive its child, apparently.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just hinting at it, but they're not going too deep. So if you really want to do the deep dive like what I did, where I'm like, they're hinting at that, and they mention the drowning cave and the two have to go together, that's what I'm thinking they're hinting at, because there's a lot of little subtle things like that in the story that I think they layer in.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I think they tried to let the viewer do all their own investigating and come up with they give many different clues as to, that could lead to different spots. So the whole story can be each person's own take on it.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter why Sadako is so tied to this drowning cave, but the grandfather goes out of his way to show the woman trying to save her life this cave.
Yeah.
In one of the films, I can't remember. I think it might even be Ring 1. They show her this cave and talks about it in conjunction to Sadako. So it still fits in with the storyline that has to do with the original Ring or Ring 2, that they're bringing back this, drowning cave. I'm just going to call it that because that's because it could be that you go in there, you're going to drown.
You can call it the scary place. You could call it the scary place.
I could, but...
You could just call it the fucking scary place.
I could, but I live in the reality of this film where this cave is designed and or used solely to either sacrifice children to an elder god to save the island, or basically just drown unwanted kids.
And that doesn't make it a scary cave?
Oh, no, that makes it a terrifying place, absolutely, but that's not...
well, then why don't you just call it that?
Because the scary place would make kids want to go investigate it, and I'm not sending them.
How about the evil cave?
I think calling something a drowning cave would pretty much tell people to stay the fuck out or you will drown. That's all it's referencing.
You would think, but I'd highly doubt it.
Well, if the Lock and Key series and or comics have anything to say about it, you are correct, sir.
Jesus Christ.
They feature drowning caves that people drown in.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Let me go ahead and just sit here with that thought about a drowning cave for fucking infants. You're doing wonderful, buddy. Thanks for helping me out.
Hey, look, man, this is the reality of the film, and we have to be here in the moment. We have to experience this because it's making us.
I guess that is the whole point of the fucking show, isn't it?
Anyway,
sorry.
Now that
I forgot that for a second.
Yeah. Now that you've dealt with that you weren't doing your job for this review for that part by calling it the scary place, I'm okay with that because it was too much for you. That's cool. It's fine.
I mean,
it's totally fine.
Listen, I can deal with a lot. Purposely drowning infants. It's just one of the few many levels where I just don't like going to.
Flip.
One of the few mini levels. I like, the fuck does that even mean?
Right. Okay, so Sadako's tied to this, as I was talking about. It does go back to that whole God of the Sea and everything. It brings in the continuity where in this world she still did end up being knocked into the well and apparently dying 30 years later. But apparently her mom trying to sacrifice / murder her here because she was terrified of her even as a baby. It deepens the story and it gives it even more of an element of shock and terror. And essentially by the end of this film, when Sadako comes for the doctor who tried to break the curse, all that represents is that basically Sadako wins because she gets that girl, right? There's nothing to stop her from taking that girl at this point.
Unless, for some reason, whatever, maybe saving that soul, because I believe it's a little girl's soul that's getting ready to take by the other dead kids, by saving her, dragging her out, maybe that released her soul from that cave where that girl was stuck. So that's why Sadako was coming to kill the doc, because it's almost like the doc swapped places there. And almost that little girl's now free of Sadako.
I could see that.
They no longer have that link.
I could see that.
The little girl was nowhere near. She was talking. She was not the same girl. So it was almost like the reason that little girl was kind of like that was a piece of her soul was missing and was stuck in that cave, just waiting for the kids to take it. That would empty out her vessel, and maybe then Sadako, that's the way Sadako gets back into the living world, and that's the only way. But she needs a live body, which, even if crashing, it'd still be a live body that probably the hospital would keep it on. It would just have no soul in it. But the doctor helped remove it.
Okay. I totally see that point. I had a kind of a different interpretation. Mm-hmm. I thought that Sadako, using her powers, tricked the woman into thinking that she was saving the girl when in fact she was dragging Sadako out and freeing her. And then Sadako rewarded her by trying to kill her, but then her brother threw himself on top of her. And so instead of having Sadako climb up her to enact the curse and to drag her back and kill her, he basically sort of wedged himself in like a track change, for railroad tracks.
Yeah.
And she crawled up him instead and then ended up taking him. So I
think that's a great thing about this movie is I think, like we were talking about, you could almost interpret it in any way you want.
Yeah, and because the brother sacrificed himself for the sister, she was able to leave. But Sadako wasn't done because she's been unleashed, and Sadako's coming for her because the Sadako spirit is tied directly to this child. And I would say that the reason that the child has changed is anytime we've seen Sadako be unleashed in the flesh in any version where she's about to destroy the entirety of the world by having a vessel like we've seen, she becomes super talkative and super chatty and super upbeat and happy because she's succeeding with her goals. And I think that little girl is actually the vessel with Sadako spirit pulled from that area where she almost drowned that little piece of her soul and put into that little girl, and this shit's starting all over again after this film ends.
That could also be a possibility.
That's how
I just viewed it as Sadako had a shot to maybe even start, fucking with the doctor a little bit, and maybe going to use the doctor to, get inside of. But yeah, I mean, it could go any of the ways we just talked about.
Yeah, one way or another, by the end of this film, we both think that Sadako finally has a vessel and the world's fucked, though, right?
Yeah, the world's definitely fucked. See, the doctor thought maybe she saved the little girl and only Sadako wanted a little girl. Sadako wants any vessel. She'll just take the doctor's, because now we see the doctor must have had some level of clairvoyance as well for all the visions she got when she touched the little girl, she touched the crazy lady, she got these visions. I think the doctor, maybe not as strong as the little girl in the psychic department, I think she has something. So now Sadako's like, fine, you release the little girl, she's gone. Part of you is still in that cave, though, and now I'm going to take you out.
Oh, so...
And now I'm just going to take you over.
So the little girl's psychic powers are like an I-7, and the doc's psychic powers are like an I-5. But the I-5 will do. Like, for Sadako's needs, that's all she needs.
It's good enough for Sadako to get in, because then Sadako's going to switch it up to a 10.
Or, the absolute max of 11.
Yeah. Whatever it takes, Sadako's got that. And but she needs somebody who has some level of psychic ability to overtake their body.
Okay. Yeah, I like your interpretation as well. I'm kind of want to rewatch it with that idea, but also with better subtitles.
Yeah, right.
And if I can get a Blu-ray with decent English subtitles, I might actually buy this because I did like it that much.
I wouldn't blame you. I'd love to watch it.
With decent subtitles or a dub to make it even easier for me.
Decent subtitles, and I'm not doing notes at the same time.
I'm thoroughly satisfied with the discussion that we've had on the film. You want to do like a quick news segment and wrap it up?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. We're going to take a little break here. We're going to play the band Brideer or Brideer. I don't know how to pronounce it in the song Ignite. You're hearing it playing already. And right after this, we're going to do some PSYOP news. Kick some fucking ass.
That fucking rocks. That fucking rocks hard.
I knew that would kind of be right up your alley.
Oh yeah, big time. That's good shit.
You know what would be some good shit right now for us all, my man?
What's up?
Give me some PSYOP news.
You get to make a decision.
Ooh.
We're doing only one article.
Okay.
And it's one of these two. It don't fret, people. We'll do the other one next week. But you decide. I'll just go by article title.
Corpse fucking.
Article 1. Florida man receiving oral sex crashes into FedEx truck.
They sex with a dead thing.
Article 2. Woman opens up on her sexual relationship with plane.
I'm going to go with the blowjob accident cause because the lady having a sexual relationship with a plane, after the dark subject matter that we've had, I think we need something a little less psychologically driven and discussions of mental states and well-being and fetishism and stuff. And I want just straight up blowjob cause accident funny.
All right. Well, this comes from our man in the field, Robert Ward.
Our man in the field, and also clip for the blowjob accident cause funny.
Yeah, of course. But our man, he's all man. All man all the time.
I hope he sure appreciates all of the love that we're giving him.
He must have an incredibly long penis.
I would hope so.
I would think so. He's all man. You're welcome, Robert. I expect a check in the mail. Anyway.
No, he does not.
No, he does not. You already do my own job for me by giving me great articles to read.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, he's definitely supporting the show.
That's why you're a man upon men. Probably have a massive penis.
Clip.
Robert's probably gonna be like, clip. MacGyver ain't got shit on me. Give me a fucking paper clip, some chewed up bubble gum, and a string. I'll get whatever dildo you need out of you. That's very true. Florida man receiving oral sex crashes into FedEx truck, officials say. Tampa, Florida, because of course it's gonna be in fucking Florida.
Yep.
A man crashed into a FedEx truck Thursday evening while we're having the intimate encounter, according to Fort Lauderdale Fire and Rescue. According to our Fox affiliate, the man and woman were found naked in an SUV after crashing head-on with the truck. Ooh. I mean, can you imagine if she bent down for any reason?
Ooh, yeah.
Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue said the woman was performing oral sex on the man while he drove the SUV leading to the crash. Guys, maybe it feels good. I get it. Maybe it feels real good. Keep your fucking eyes open. All right, pay attention to the fucking road still. You gotta do that, guys, or else bad things like this happen.
Roadhead in general is fucking dangerous because accident mean chompy teeth chop off.
And also, not just choppy teeth chop off, you did that to yourself. What if you kill some other person, like fucking hitting them or some shit? That person wasn't having any fun, and you just killed them.
Okay. I accept the fact that murder is definitely a horrible thing to feel bad about, particularly a vehicular homicide for being so careless. But if your dick just gets bitten off in the crash, literally that's all you care about at that moment.
It is. I'm not saying that guy should care about it, but I'm just saying, like, you know what? If that happens, I feel more for the pedestrian hit and not for the guy whose dick got chopped off. He kind of caused that himself.
No, yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm not arguing your point as well.
I wanted to make sure of that.
I'm saying if you're the person who just had their dick bit off, that's your biggest concern.
Yeah, that's kind of your biggest concern.
Right.
You are correct.
I don't care. All of this fucking clips.
Yeah, I don't care if there's a person halfway through your windshield, like, bleeding all over you, asking you to help them. You're more paying attention to your bitten off dick.
Yeah, and hoping you don't fucking bleed to death, yes.
Yeah, clips.
All of this.
Oh, this is clips. So the two occupants of the FedEx truck suffered minor injuries, and officials said that the SUV driver suffered injuries to the groin due to what happened during the crash. Oh, shit.
Dude, seriously, there is not a story of Roadhead that doesn't end badly to me, ever. I've never heard good Roadhead stories, ever.
It's almost done. Our Fox affiliate said they're unsure anyone will be charged. Maybe because the guy went through fucking enough. Because, I mean, there's no more of the story, but if there's injuries to the groin, then there was a bite. That's the only thing I can think. There's a bite.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. Okay. Seriously, I've never heard a single story of Roadhead ending well. Like, I'm sure there are people out there
not in the news.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm sure it has ended well, but that never makes the news.
Well, here's the thing. If my friends are trying to tell me stories of Roadhead, I need to look at their significant other in the eyes at some point, and I just don't need to hear that story.
And you don't need to hear that. Like, I don't want to know that. Yeah. So
I have a hard time picturing people that I am friends with having sex because they gross me out. My friends gross me out. I don't want to picture them.
Same here. See, this is why I always find it funny. A lot of people think all men talk about is sex. And we always talk about it to our friends constantly about, the girl we had sex with or whatever. That's very untrue because no dude wants to imagine his buddies, for the most part, having sex, because for the most part, we all disgust one another. So we just don't really, the most you'll get out of us is, hey, did you hook up with that girl? I sure did. Good for you guys. And then you just keep going on about your fucking day. And you talk about, some nonsensical shit. Do you really think Skeletor was all skeleton just wearing a man suit? And if so, isn't that just all of us anyway?
Yes, that is what we talk about. And it's important to note that we're just disgusted by our friends because we know our friends and we've seen what our friends are like.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're disgusted by them. I mean,
right.
We're not going to body shame anyone, but just personality-wise, we're all fucking gross.
Right, absolutely. At least in our friend circle and in our experience, we just don't want to picture that. And in most cases, I end up liking the spouses of my friends almost more than my friends.
It's very true. It's very true. Then you become, and now we're in an older age, right, where we're all in committed relationships. And then you really don't talk about it because, yes, I am friends with almost all my friends' wives. I have friendships with them. I've talked with them. I don't want to imagine them doing that.
That at certain points they almost become like family, and except for some of us that live in the deep South, Roll Tide, we don't want to picture our sisters having sex.
Exactly, Roll Tide. You don't want to Roll Tide. We want to be normal people. We're north of the Mason-Dixon line, folks. None of it.
But we're far enough out in the cornfield that a bunch of weird shit happens anyway.
Hey, $20 is $20. But anyway.
But to bring this all back to the fact that Roadhead is probably not a good idea.
It's probably not. It's not safe.
Yeah, I've heard more stories of Roadhead ending in disaster like this than becoming a good thing. Because let's face it, fellas, it's super hard to concentrate, especially if whoever is performing said oral on you is really good at what they do.
Exactly. Thank you. Don't do it, guys. It's a danger. There's no way you can concentrate on more than one thing at a time. Most men can't do that anyway. They definitely can't do it when their willy dangs getting dungle-gungled. Okay?
Well, and the reverse of that, if you have your clam out and you're jamming out with your clam out and someone is going to town on you down there while you're driving.
Okay, number one, that's a bit more impressive because you got to get into things to get going. But what if they're just doing a hand thing and jibbling? That can still be very, very, confusing.
Yeah, I don't know the logistics of how that Roadhead would exactly work. I'm going to need some photographic evidence of how that works if anybody could send that to me.
You guys just should be doing anything sexual while you're driving.
I mean, I'm not going to shame you for it. It's just really dangerous is all we're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just dangerous. And it's not kink shaming. It's just saying it's so dangerous.
We like you too much if you're a listener to like lose you to something like that. You know, can you make your thrills a little less deadly?
Yeah, we don't want to lose our listeners. We come to like you guys. So please maybe get your jibble jabbles all wiggle waggled in a safer way.
I am thoroughly fucking confused after what you just said, and I'm not sure what advice you were trying to give to our audience, so I'm just cutting this shit off here.
I would probably do that.
Right now is the Ending Legion promo, and right after that, we're going to have Mary's Blood with Marionette.
If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Hellming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Ghost Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick Six Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic Podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, Two Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.
Fucking A, man. I guess the theme for tonight is...
That's some good shit.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
The theme for tonight is some really cool, interesting fucking metal that is either all female led or at least female fronted, and if it's not, all female lineup, right?
Yeah, right? No shit.
God damn. And you know what? The song that's going to close out this fucking episode that's going to come up after I'm done with all this bullshit fucking show housekeeping I go through every week like it's going to do us any fucking good. You know, that song is really going to fucking rock too. So everybody stick around for that shit all the way through 6 minutes and 30 seconds of it.
Yeah, it's good shit.
Matt hasn't even heard it. He's just going to go along with me because he's that good of a co-host, folks.
I come to trust your musical taste. Not like you half-ass it, so.
Well, thank you for that. If you'd like to find the other instances where Matt has complimented me, I mean, I'm sure it exists out there somewhere, right?
Probably fucking not. I mean, I don't really compliment a lot of people. I'm kind of a general dick.
If that does exist, it should be at our main landing and launching page, legionpodcast.com/cinema-psyops-podcast.
See, when I wasn't a dick once.
Or twice, or 3 or 4 times.
Whatever. See all the times where I actually had human emotions.
The past 355 instances of Matt being on this show are available at legionpodcast.com/cinema-psyops-podcast.
I mean, that you got that out there, though. That was nice. That was nice. It was trailing off at the end, but you did it. You did it.
If I have,
strong.
As Matt can attest, if I have breath, I won't shut the fuck up.
That is totally true. And sometimes even when he's almost out of breath, still won't shut the fuck up.
I'm usually saying things like choke me, daddy, and it makes everyone uncomfortable.
Yeah, then I'm sitting there staring at you going, okay, were you talking to me or the photo behind me? I just need to know.
Speaking of photos that may end up behind Matt, you can check out our Instagram, cinema_psyops, for our thrice daily meme drops.
Yes, that's awesome.
You can also find those said meme drops of photos that may or may not end up behind Matt at Facebook group Cinema Psyops, and I'm available there as Court Psyops as well. I share at all of those locations, as well as a select few of groups that have basically been selected by requesting that I do it or not telling me I can't.
Yeah, well, if it's not about me, I've lost interest already. So please, go ahead. Talk about you and other people. Just let me know when it's about me again.
You know, the reason that I'm making myself so available is because you've made yourself so unavailable.
That's very true. I have to keep myself closed off from the rest of the world.
Yeah, people that want to
According
book
to
you are
court
telling me to
documents.
ask you, and then I have to tell you, and then you tell me to tell them no.
Listen, there's a lot of court shit, all right? And not just this show and you. I meant like court. See, you know, not your name, not you, but like court.
Oh, as in
The
you need
American
one of my
justice system.
You need one of my lawyers? You need me to
might need one of your, maybe a few more.
Okay, you need me to refer to you. How many lawyers do you have?
Well, none. I'm just the co-host.
Oh. Okay, but you're making it sound like you need a lawyer because you have court problems, and I have lawyers that I can refer to you.
I need an S on the end of that lawyer, so I need lawyers.
Okay,
more than one.
Yeah, I have plural. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Actually, when we're
how many of those would you say you have?
Actually, let's discuss that off air, and then I can recommend depending upon your needs.
I almost had him.
If you'd like to tell us to stop doing this fucking lawyers bit, you can email feedback to courtcinemasciopscourt@gmail.com. But I have to.
Then not only will we mention you by name and say they've asked us not to do it anymore, we'll do it right again later by saying, okay, we'll tell our lawyers they're all fired and all that. We're going to do the bit again. So even if you tell us not to do it anymore, we're going to do it at least one more time.
While you're out there requesting that we do the lawyers bit and grateful that we still fucking do it no matter how bad we're gotten at it, kick the fuck out of this week and make it your bitch. Hey, what's up? You almost caught me making farting noises into the microphone to the Skype ringtone.
Booyah.
Almost. Like, you almost caught me.
Oh.
Like, it's on the recording, and it'll go into the outtakes because I'm just, I don't fucking care. What am I going to be embarrassed about?
Yeah, right? Well, I'm recording now, too. 1, 2, 3.
And you saying that made me look at my recorder because I wanted to make sure that mine is actually rolling past 1 second.
Right.
It is. We're at like 46 right now because I started rolling right before I even started the call.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's it. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back.
All right, so
Shut the door.
Oh, no problem. You know that Bev's leg is injured, and I may have to pause the recording to run upstairs. And when I say pause, I mean we just stop, and then I cut out the silence stuff that happens in between.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, she probably won't need me because I've got all the stuff that she needs, pain pills and everything within arm's reach of where she's at, and I made sure she was super comfortable. But in case shit comes up, I wanted to tell you in advance we're gonna have to pause to do that, take care of it.
Sounds good.
All right, so you're recording on your side, and you did the 3, 2, 1 clap, right? I don't remember.
Yep, I sure did.
Okay, I'll take your word for it, and if I have a bitch of a time syncing it up because you didn't and you lied to me, I'm gonna hurt you.
So now you're gonna have a bitch of a time because you're hurting my feelings.
I don't care if I hurt feelings. How long have we
Calling
been
me a liar?
No, I'm just saying if you were lying to me, I'm going to hurt you.
You calling me a liar, boy?
Careful, you're getting dangerously close to MAGA-ing at me.
Oh, God, that's gross.
It's true, but that's the way you were talking.
Yeah, well, you know what? Fucking Trump and his ilk have ruined a lot of good things in this world.
I don't disagree.
You can't even give the okay side anymore because the fucking white power people took it. Sucks. Like, hey man, how's that steak? And your mouth's full? You can't do the okay symbol. Now I have to mumble with like fucking a mouthful of fucking food.
You can try thumbs up.
You know what? That's a good idea. Good job. All right, now I'm not as mad about it.
I've always been more of a thumbs up fan than the okay anyway, because the okay was always the asshole game for me.
Oh yeah, the asshole game, but that's upside down, right?
Yeah, but that's how a lot of them try to hide it and pretend like they're just playing the asshole game.
See, and that also sucks because I like the asshole game. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because it was innocent. It was just like, hey, I made you look at a circle beneath my belt. That was it.
Look, if 1940s Germany has taught us anything, it's that Nazis fucking ruin everything.
It's fucking right.
Yeah. That's a good headspace. This is the last fucking Sadako only film that we have to do for this year.
Yes, thank God.
Don't thank God. Thank the fucking schedule.
Thank the schedule. I'll thank whoever I want to thank, motherfucker.
Yes, but you have to be quiet while I play the fucking theme. Here we go. Seikondo. Fuck it up even when it's fucking phonetic.
And the child does that Sadako fucking, more so was actually, I believe I just recently heard it was Stanley Kubrick who somewhat came up with the whole looking over the bridge of your, like tilt your head down and look up. It's supposed to make you look more inhuman.
It's a shot that he has perfected, I will give you that, but I don't know if he discovered it. But I mean, it's impossible to say that
How about
he didn't
this? It's a
perfect
shot he used the most in a lot of his movies.
And used the most
so at least-
effectively, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I will give you that. I don't know if I just can't say that he created it, but he definitely
Yeah, I know.
has
Maybe he didn't create it, but how about this? He perfected it and at least brought it to the forefront of movies.
Yeah, in our opinion, our vote.
Yeah, in our
because we
opinion.
both said it. In our opinion, that's how we feel for that. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't know
she
why
does
we
that.
need all these fucking qualifications. It's like
because we'll get that one person who's like, "Fuck you guys, Kubrick was a fucking hack."
Right. Absolutely. In this one case, I'm saying, in my opinion, that shot is something that I feel he deserves credit for, if nothing else. It's that guilt from that feeling from that statement. That's why I bring it up, in case we didn't mention it.
All right. Yeah, and that is true.
I had to bring it up again regardless if we did mention it, and I'm too stoned to fucking remember. Which may be the case. Fucking damn Delta 8.
Well, let's hurry this up so I can get my Delta 10 in my system after the show's done, so I can go to sleep tonight.
Oh, gotcha. We'll shut the fuck up. I'm sorry I have so much to say about this film. I clearly enjoyed it way more than you.
Actually, I did enjoy it. Just the dialogue threw me. So,
and I'm trying
took my enjoyment away.
And my long-winded fucking stoned ass is trying to make up for that and help the audience understand what's going on a little more too.
I would do it the same way as you're doing it, but I can't because I have to read the notes or else it would turn into this. So then Sadako comes out of the well, and everything's.
Would you purposely pronounce her name Sadako that instead of Sadako?
Yeah,
or did you? Okay.
Exactly. That was on purpose. So Sadako comes out of the well, and
I think the only things I'd let you review super fucking stoned would be fucking Star Wars. You know what I mean?
It's only when when we do the live feed, the live commentaries, when we did that last time.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, fucking partied it up for those. So that's
we
fine.
partied up on that one because God, I was fucking got high heaven out of that one.
Well, I'm trying to get the studio together to where we can do that again. Why don't we roll on and finish this up so you can get your Delta 10 on?
Yeah, right. So it's not a big deal. It's just really, it's just to help me sleep. So the next 20 minutes.
Sure, that's why I use it. My doctor says I need it to get high.
Yeah.
Is this where they do the flashback of it, or she just says it?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
No, she just says it.
Yeah, I can't remember where some of that stuff happens in the story. I'm sorry.
It's like just the final 30 minutes of this gets pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah, a very dense back
but
third
because
of the
it was
film.
an hour and 38, I don't even have a final 30. I have final 20s all the way through it. So
yeah,
or just 20s all the way through because it's almost an hour 40. So
yeah. It's actually a pretty good length though. I think for everything that they pack into it too.
Not a bad length at all, but that last 30 gets pretty well zooming.
Yeah, a lot of story and a lot of fucking intensity all at once, which makes it a good movie.
Yeah, and it's awesome unless you're trying to do notes. That shit
I'm sorry.
Sucks.
I'll shut the fuck up and let you move on.
But I mean, I don't know. You can keep talking. I'm just saying when you're trying to do notes, and it's the catch-22 when you're doing notes for a movie, people. When it gets fast and furious, it really just tons of shit starts happening. You're really into it because you're into that usually for movies. I don't know anybody who's like, nah, slow burner all the way through. Even the end should be a slow burn. No fun at all. Just slow burn everything.
They're called Ty West fans, and I happen to be them.
No. But when things start going, you're getting into it, but then you're also I don't want to miss anything, but you hate to pause it to do notes because it really disrupts the movie.
I get it.
At least to me.
I get it. You fucking hate that I love Ari Aster so much and wish we never do any of it on the show. Fine, let's move on.
Lizzie?
No, I'm still here. I just was letting you move on. So I agree with you because you were just agreeing with me. I was ready for you to move on.
Yeah, I was just okay. I did. All right.
That's fine. Better to make sure that I'm still here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like the kind of person that ended up on the brown acid at fucking Woodstock, like that kind of Don.
Yeah, don't have the brown Twizzlers, only the red ones.
I don't know what that's I don't know what that's referencing.
From. It was a lame attempt at doing Wayne's World 2, when they're having that big concert and Garth is trying to stall for time. He tells everyone, and I forget what Garth's favorite food was, but it was supposed to be like a licorice, and he was telling everyone not to have the bad licorice.
Yeah, that's because at Woodstock someone announces don't have the brown acid because it's giving people really bad trips. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that we're all over the fucking pop culture spectrum here. Like that, we're that fucking loopy.
We really are. We're everywhere, man.
Having a blast though. That's all that matters.
Fucking A right. That one kind of missed on me.
Oh wait,
whatever's happening here?
What happened in the what vision are you talking about?
It was the vision just off, and she's looking at the little girl. I don't think it's nothing important. We can move on.
Is it?
I know for a fact it's not. What? Go ahead.
Okay. What is she? What she sees the little girl?
She's just about to see the little girl now with all the other kids coming up from the water, grabbing at her to drag her down.
Oh, okay.
Now, something is said right before that. I really don't think it matters much. It's not something pertinent to the story because we're about to get to the most pertinent part.
Yeah, I think it was just the name, like she calls out a name, like for help or something like that. You are correct.
I think so.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. So
it just got so. Even the subtitles for it made no sense. It was just nonsensical to me.
Yeah, this is all getting excised to the outtakes to show just how befuddled we got at certain points.
Yes, but I mean, befuddled is definitely the fucking way to say it.
You're welcome for your Victorian dialogue. I know how much you love your old-timey words.
I am befuddled. This besmirchery has me befuddled.
I don't think that means what you think it means. Let's move on. Requesting that we do the lawyer's bit and grateful that we still fucking do it no matter how bad we're gotten at it. Kick the fuck out of this week and make it your bitch. You know what though? Jesus. There's actually a specific person that I just that I'm referring to when I said was requesting the lawyer's bit, so I hope they got that one.
Oh, nice. That's good. That's good stuff.
Because they've solely been the one that has resurrected that, my man.
Really?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
All about the lawyers.
Yeah, and if you want credit for it and or the blame, just let me know, my man.
Right? Jesus Christ.
Let's end this shit. Stop your recording clock.
All right. I am done.
Me too.